hello everyone. Welcome to the Juniper Systems webinar. I'm using the new Uinta software for natural resource applications. Today we're going to be talking about the capabilities of our new Uinta software and show you how it can help you specifically in natural resources, but I think it'll have some applications in some other industries as well. So appreciate you joining us and we'll get going. My name is Ken. I'm the Natural Resources Sales Manager here at Juniper. I've got a master's degree in natural resources and I've worked in with various capacities over the last 20 years doing field work of all kinds. The plan today is to use some of that experience to help you understand how Uinta software can help you in your daily work. This picture isn't really me, but this guy is one of the popular kids on the internet right now, and so I thought I'd add him to the presentation to add just, that little something extra. If you've spent any time in natural resources, you know that the standard data collection setup is to use an aluminum folder like this one. You take notes in pencil with write in the rain paper. Now, after taking all of your notes for the season, you typically hide in a cave somewhere and you transcribe your notes and your data into Excel on a PC. Now, in the Northern Hemisphere, this is called winter, right? Summer is for collecting data, winter is for transcribing and analyzing it. This guy right here, his field season has just come to an end and he's contemplating his 3 to 5 months of data transfer that he's about to start. So for about 30 years, Juniper Systems has been doing it a little bit differently. We first developed our portable electronic data recorders in the early 90s, and we've been helping people get away from paper data collection ever since. Back in the day, Juniper Systems started as Omnidata. You can see that at the top of our old polycorder here. Now, over the years, we've produced a variety of data collection devices that you may recognize from some of your work. They've changed over the years. Now, a few years ago, we produced some of the first tablets on the market. We called them the Mesa tablets. Beginning with our Mesa 2 tablet, we offered Windows 10 as the operating system, just like most laptops. That basically allowed most natural resources professionals to take this pretty powerful operating system out into the field for the first time. And the big story with that is we didn't need to have the necessarily complex data transfer procedures that you previously had. So if you recall back in the day, you'd spend a whole day collecting data on your data device, and if you weren't using a Juniper Systems model, you probably had to change your battery like 6 times. And at the end of the day, you'd go back to the hotel room and you'd move your data over to your laptop from your field device, freed up a little bit of space. When you're done with your project, you transfer your data from your laptop over to your PC, and that PC actually had the horsepower to do what you need it to. The data was transferred so many times. Basically, you're just sitting there praying that you've entered it correctly the first time and that you put things in the right cells and columns and things like that. This is one of my favorite old computers. It's the venerable Apple IIc from 1984. Provided me with a lot of enjoyment playing Oregon Trail at the elementary school library. So today you actually have the option with our Mesa 3 of having only a single computer for the field and the office. It's not always right for everyone, but this is a picture of the Mesa 2 running a couple monitors for one of our customers in British Columbia. And this ends up saving a lot of time, money, and hassle and errors for people that are in and out of the office. It's great for foresters, grad students, that kind of stuff. Until now, the challenge of the Windows 10 operating system was that there was not a robust data collection and mapping app or software to help users in the field. Our new software, Uinta, is poised to fix that problem and to give you the computing power and easy to useness that you don't have to use. You don't have to be transcribing stuff in a cave in the winter ever again. So anyway, just to reiterate, Uinta is currently made only for the Windows 10 operating system. We're working on versions for Android and iOS as well, so look for those over the next year or so. If you're in love with balancing your laptop in the woods like a pizza box or working with it on the hood of your truck, you can do that too. But today we'll obviously be using one of our rugged devices to demo the software. Last sales pitch here, what makes our devices so great is the bright daylight readable screen, the ruggedness, and the all-day battery life of up to 15 hours. All right, so let's quickly check out this dude. I think we all know what's really going on here. This guy has about 30 seconds that he can hold this position before his back goes out. He can't see anything on that screen that was designed for an office environment. He's got ticks and ants crawling up his pants, and he's about to be swarmed by 10,000 mosquitoes. So, sometimes it looks really dreamy to compute above a fjord in Norway, but it's not really working for me, so probably not working for you either. For our mapping applications, Uinta will utilize the GPS in your device to give you your location. Now, depending on your application, you may want to use an external GNSS receiver like our Geode to give you sub-meter or better accuracy. The Geode is a little bit bigger than a hockey puck. It can be used to help your device increase its accuracy. It commonly gets about 30 centimeters of accuracy, depending on the terrain and geographic features in your area. Now, I was preparing this demonstration the other day, and my 8-year-old daughter saw the Geode on my desk, and she said, "What is that, Dad?" And I told her it was an electronic device that helps tell you where you are. So she picked it up, gave it a double tap on top of it, and said in a really clear voice, "Hey, Geode, where am I?" Now, Geode isn't quite that user-friendly yet. It's not quite the same as this Amazon device, but it is a very serious tool for situations where 30 feet of accuracy is inadequate. So something that you might want to try. Now, many of our customers use the Geode to accurately map boreholes or individual trees or wetland delineations, fence lines, rare plants, buoys in lakes and marinas, that type of thing. So what does Uinta actually do for you? So on a very basic level, Uinta allows you to create electronic data collection forms and tie those forms to spatial data, even without network connectivity. You can map something in the field, add different data points and attributes, and then export it in a variety of formats for use later. This includes PDFs, Excel, KML, Google Earth files, and others. So your data forms can be customized in the field to reflect real-time changes. You can make custom templates. You can share those templates with others, and you can upload your data wirelessly to the cloud. Now, Uinta is extremely flexible and customizable to your needs. You can use it to navigate to points that you'll need to find in remote areas. Uinta will help you create the points, lines, and polygons to delineate areas, map assets, and just kind of be all around more efficient. So it also works offline by allowing you to save maps of your work area for use when you're not in cell or Wi-Fi range. The plan today is to talk through several scenarios that, while they may not be exactly what you need, they'll help you understand the basic principles and capabilities to it. So there are some other online tools that we've created that you'll also want to check out. So also keep in mind, this is just one in a series of webinars and tutorials. They too will probably not cover your exact needs, but the concepts will help teach you how to maximize and customize Uinta to meet your needs more precisely. So as we talk today, think about your own workflow and how it could be better with Uinta software. Let's get going with some quick demos. I'm going to show you some applications for Uinta by some of our current customers. Like I said, these customers' needs won't be the exact same as yours, but overall look at the capabilities, and I think you'll find some places where Uinta will make your work better. Now, this is some actual data collected by a customer using Uinta in the Rocky Mountains. You can see they've mapped surface cover, including, and probably most importantly, the wetlands. The red triangle in the middle represents the proposed area of disturbance for building a structure. And you can see how that disturbance overlays with the land cover types. As you know, wetlands are a big deal with the Corps of Engineers under the Clean Water Act. And it requires that there be no net loss of wetlands. So anywhere our red triangle intersects with those wetlands is a potential place for problems when it comes to permitting. And we're using Uinta to kind of help us visualize where those areas are. I've zoomed into the southeast corner of that picture we were just looking at, and you can see where the triangle of disturbance intersects with some of that wetland. Now, using Uinta to minimize this wetland impact prior to permitting is a wise way to go. It makes it faster and cheaper for you as a wetland delineator or a consultant, and it works just kind of like a mini GIS. So the person doing this, the wetland delineator that did this work, just used Uinta to minimize the time in the field and to save this consumer a lot of hassle. Note how this example is primarily showing polygons, and those polygons showed areas. So let's go on to the next one. If we look at the northwest edge of that property that I showed you earlier, you can also see another area where the wetland boundaries overlap the proposed disturbance area. And by adjusting these boundaries in Uinta, the consultant can help the client propose a course of action that basically minimizes the impacts to the wetlands and maximizes the use of more buildable land. Moving on to another example here. While not strictly natural resources, a lot of natural resource consultants offer phase 1 environmental assessments that can include the mapping of underground storage tanks, utilities. This Uinta customer has mapped the underground features of a gas station, including power lines, water lines, gas lines, valves, and meters. And this use really demonstrates the use of mapping points, lines, and polygons in a relatable mapping scenario. So these lines, points, and polygons could just as easily be plots, transects, or data points for use in forestry or range management. There's really a ton of options here and possibilities. You could do rare plant surveys, you could map fence lines, wildlife surveys, and more. If you look down at the bottom of this screenshot, you can see that we are in map view. That's the black highlighted view down there. There's also a list view. Why don't we switch over to list view and see what we see there. Okay, so in list view, we can see every data point and its attributes, and they're even color coded. They're color coded with the same colors that were used in the map. Collectively, there's a ton of data here that may be more useful when compared with other data. One way that you compare that data with other data and get it to play nice together is to export it into some sort of common file type. So Uinta offers several options that are useful for exporting. So using this gas station example, we can see that there are some real quick exports right down here at the bottom of the page in orange. So I've hit export and it gives me this little screen here. Let's try exporting our data to Excel, and I'll show you how incredibly easy this is. I'm just gonna hit Excel, and we're going to export it. And you see, seconds later, Excel launches with all the data you've collected in this project. You can see the monitoring wells in green. We're looking at those now. You can see the electrical, the street lights, utility poles, and the other data types along the bottom in their own tabs. Again, these tabs are color coded. They're the same color as the data points and the lines in the map and the list view of Uinta. I really like this feature for keeping track of things visually. And as you know from here in Excel, it's easy to do all kinds of analysis and manipulation with your data. Let's go back and look at another way to export. This time, let's try the PDF. Many times you need to pass on your data quickly to a customer or superior that doesn't really want to give them the option of modifying it. PDFs are perfect for this because they don't always look great, the PDFs are perfect for this, but they don't always look great without spending a bunch of time on them. So what we did in Uinta is we came up with a way of exporting your data using a standard PDF template that is similar to what many engineers and landscape architects use to deliver final mapping and plans. So let's check that out. Let's export to PDF. And as you can see, we get the option of putting in a date, some titles, some labels, gives you a quick legend, and down in the right-hand corner, you can even put in a picture of yourself. That's kind of nice. Now, here's what the screen to do that looks like. This time, rather than a photo, I've browsed to a copy of our logo, and I've selected that to appear instead. You can also get the option of adding attributes to display on the template, some other advanced options like choosing paper size and dimension. It's pretty cool. You can see it right here, down in the lower right-hand corner. Now we have the Juniper Systems logo. Just show it's a real quick way to make it look a lot more professional. And doing this literally takes about 12 seconds. It's super easy. Some of our customers will even email their client a copy of an as-built map like this before even leaving the property that they're surveying. So It gives the client options immediately and helps them feel like they got what they paid for. There's also options to export. There's other options for export as well, but let's move on to some other features with Uinta. Now, one of my coworkers here at Juniper has a wife who studies amphibians and lizards all over the world. In 2009, she collected some data on frogs on the Big Island of Hawaii. Now, we imported this older data into Uinta, and you can see that in map view, it groups these close data points and sums them so that you have an idea of the number of points in a given area. You can see that all around the perimeter of the Big Island there. Now, as we zoom in, those points are separated out so that we can see where each individual point was taken. One of the things I really like about Uinta is the ability to do robust data collection and mapping in an intuitive way. I think there's some other software out there that can do this same stuff, but it has so many unneeded features that the simple stuff gets difficult to figure out. And Uinta is really straightforward. Note again at the bottom of the screen in black there, we're in map view. So if we switch over to list view again, we see all of the attributes associated with each of these data points. The date, the altitude, cloud cover, wind speed, and all the others. And here's the cool part. Importing this old data set has basically given us an electronic data form for subsequent data collection. So if my coworker's wife wanted to resample these points using the same attributes 11 years later, there's already an electronic data form in Uinta for her to use. Here's part of that data form. What's more, as you can see here, she can actually still modify that data form and add other frog habitat attributes that may have become relevant in the last 11 years. For example, perhaps daily rainfall was shown 6 years ago to help predict the emergence of frogs or something like that. And she could easily add a field to the new electronic data form and decide whether that data is required or not. Importing existing data is a really nice feature that assists you as you integrate data from different data collection projects over time. So the old data can still be used with Uinta. It's pretty cool. Now, along those same lines, here are a whole bunch of data collection fields that can easily be added. You can add attachments, Boolean options, checkboxes, yes or no questions, numeric only options, and others. Now you can build these data collection forms even without importing something previously. That's one of the things that makes Uinta so nice, is its ability to build a form, even if you're not that interested in relating it spatially through a map. Another cool option for field work is the option to navigate you from one data point to another. Sometimes it's super helpful when you're revisiting a site from a previous survey, since things often change over time. For example, a rare plant population one year may be absent the next year, and it's good to know you're in the right place. Uinta can help you with this as it navigates you from your present position to any of the points in your data set. I gave this a try, and you can see as I prepare this webinar in Idaho, we can see that I can get to this point in Hawaii by only going 3,014 miles to the west. Not too shabby, right? This may not be the best example for helping you navigate, but just know that it's a useful feature in Uinta for getting you from one existing point to the next. All right, I want to switch gears for a minute here and look at some data that I collected myself recently. Now in map view, you can see that I'm preparing this presentation from the Idaho-Wyoming border, given where that blue dot is. You can also see that I've collected 6 data points in southern Utah. I basically spent a lot of time in southern Utah. I'm cruising around on trails, and climbing, hiking slot canyons, and just visiting a lot of places that are super unique. And one of the places that I've wanted to spend some time for years is the Henry Mountains in southern Utah. Henry Mountains are basically located in the middle of the desert, just below that number 6 in orange there. So I've zoomed in on that, and the Henrys they're basically an island mountain range in the middle of the desert. They go up to 11,000 feet. They were actually the last place in the lower 48 states to be mapped. And there's a herd of wild buffalo roaming there. It's just a cool place. You can see the Henrys in green, the Colorado River and Lake Powell to the east, and basically a whole desert surrounding this mountain range. A few weeks ago, I cruised down there to do some exploring and camping, and I brought along my Mesa 3 and Uinta to help map some of my exploits. Because the Henrys are so remote, I couldn't really count on any type of cell signal, and certainly no Wi-Fi. So although Uinta will map and provide location data without a background map, I wanted to use Uinta to map routes and plan little excursions from the field. I've had this need over my career for many, many times, and I imagine you guys do as well. You know, I think we all find that the cool places just don't have the connectivity, and really that's part of what makes them cool. So one of the features that I like about Uinta is the ability to download maps for offline use. You can just download them ahead of time, and you can add them as a single layer as needed. You can see on the right that I've downloaded the northern and central areas of the Henrys already. By clicking the checkbox next to them, they actually become an active layer. Here's a picture of me clipping out the southern portion of the Henrys in Uinta. It's really easy and it works great. So when I'm offline, I can make the mapped layers active and use them as needed. Note that my lack of connectivity means other mapping imagery in the areas where I have not downloaded the specific areas. You can see that that is not there, only the areas that I've downloaded. So I stayed in the Henrys for 3 nights and I camped in several different areas to get a feel for the terrain. You can see my camping spots with the red waypoints. I also climbed Mount Ellen from the trailhead marked in yellow. You can see my route in blue along the ridge lines of the peaks. I mapped these things after hiking and estimated it using a manual line, but I could have also mapped the route in real time using an automatic function in Uinta. Recall that as I create data points in Uinta, I have the option of adding as many other attributes as I need. For this project, my needs were pretty simple. I created a data collection template allowing me to locate my campground, the name of the campground, give a brief description, map an exact location, and add pictures to remind me of what it looks like. You can see I've added 2 pictures to this entry, one of a view to the north and one of a view to the south. Now you can also look at your pictures to make sure they're accurate and in focus. You can imagine how frustrating it is to get back in the office only to discover the photos of your rare plants or your timber stand were out of focus and they're not even usable. Don't ask me how I know this. Well, in this pic, you can see the sandstone and granite cliffs on the south side of the Henry Mountains. Super cool place. Anyway, let's review real quick what we know about Uinta and just do a little bit of a summary here. First of all, Uinta is super easy. It's totally customizable. It's easy to map stuff. It makes it easy to collect the data. You don't need cell phone or Wi-Fi connectivity to do it. You can share it easily and save it to the cloud. And it saves you time and money as you create more efficiency. So again, my name is Ken. Feel free to contact me with any questions. I'm going to leave you with one last picture of my trip to the Henrys. Think about the capabilities that we've talked real quick here about Uinta and see how it can fit into your workflow. If you have any questions, drop me an email or give me a call to discuss what we can figure out. If you want to take Uinta for a test drive, let's make it happen. There's tons of possibilities for this software, and I invite you to find out more on our website, check out our YouTube channel, or by getting in contact. Thanks. Talk to you soon.